Chapter 83, Chapter 81, Killing the Noble Family's Henchman, Obtaining the 7th Grade Opportunity /3. It seems that a huge conspiracy is shrouding our Lu family. The enemy is trying to wipe out our Lu family. If we send people to chase them, we might fall into the enemy's ambush. That young couple might just be a trap. Patriarch Lu Kai looked very grave. He naturally wished to find the murderer immediately and take revenge. No matter how useless his son was, he was still his son, and he wouldn't allow outsiders to harm him. But as the patriarch of the Lu family, he absolutely could not act rashly. Otherwise, it might bring a great disaster to the Lu family. A trap. That said, recently, a lot of major events have indeed happened in our Lu family. One after another, many important people have died. It's simply unprecedented. Could it be that those targeting our Lu family are the Red Eyebrow Army? Another elder of the Lu family spoke, very suspicious that the ones taking action were spies of the Red Eyebrow Army. Besides the Red Eyebrow Army, he couldn't think of another powerful enemy. After all, to instantly kill Lu Wenda and others, the enemy would at least have a refining organ-level cultivation. But there are very few martial artists of this level. Every one of them is a Jianghu hero with formidable power. It's impossible for one to emerge so easily. So suspecting the Red Eyebrow Army was quite reasonable. No need for doubt, it is definitely the work of the Red Eyebrow Army. Chen Yachuan's malice is utterly undisguised. As far as I know, the injuries on Chen Yachuan have already healed. It's estimated he will soon regroup the Red Eyebrow Army to attack Yun's city. Patriarch Lu Kai said in a deep voice, revealing a piece of top-secret information. No way, didn't he suffer mutual destruction with Grandmaster Mu Da? Why did his injuries heal so quickly? How much time has really passed? Many elders of the Lu family said in disbelief. They had also witnessed the injuries on Chen Yachuan. Even for a martial arts grandmaster, complete recovery would take several months or even a year. But now, in such a short time, he was completely healed, which was simply astonishing. It's normal for you to be surprised. If I'm not mistaken, Chen Yachuan may have obtained inheritance from a cultivator. Received a healing elixir from cultivators. That's why his injuries recovered so quickly. Patriarch Lu Kai explained. Obtained inheritance from a cultivator. This guy's luck is actually so good. Very normal. As far as I know, Chen Yachuan is not a noble descendant, just a farmer's son. Normally, such a person would never rise in a lifetime. But if he received a cultivator's inheritance, some martial arts techniques, plus elixirs from a cultivator, then rapid progress in martial arts cultivation would be expected. Similar fortuitous encounters have occurred occasionally in the Wei Kingdom over the years. Many Lu family elders discussed fervently. Evidently, as a millennium-old noble family, they were already aware of the existence of cultivators. They had even interacted with cultivators before. So, is Chen Yachuan determined to attack Yun City and have issues with our Lu family? Could it have a great connection with the cultivator's inheritance? An elder of the Lu family's eyes flickered, as if he thought of something. Exactly. If I'm not mistaken, that kid probably wants to get hold of our immortal token. Patriarch Lu Kai bluntly said. What? This guy is simply ambitious like a wolf. With this, the elders of the Lu family had a drastic change in expression, their eyes filled with a hint of fury, utterly wrathful. Good for Chen Yachuan, actually targeting our Lu family. The immortal token is the cornerstone of our Lu family. Right? If the immortal token is lost, our Lu family would be completely finished. Just relying on that rogue to have designs on my Lu family, it's simply dreaming. The elders were enraged and wished to tear the Red Eyebrow Army's leader, Chen Yachuan, into pieces. The function of the immortal token is actually very simple. It is to help us open the immortal cave mansion deep within Yunmeng Lake. The immortal cave mansion opens once every 50 years. And we have the opportunity to enter the mansion and receive the immortal's inheritance. Our ancestors were fortunate to enter once, laying the foundation for our Lu family for hundreds of years. Unfortunately, over the years, those who passed the immortal cave mansion's tests were few. The rewards obtained have also diminished, leading to our Lu family's talent withering. But even so, this is still our Lu family's opportunity to become immortal in the future, and it must not be seized by outsiders. Patriarch Lu Kai said through gritted teeth. There has always been a rumor of immortals at the depths of Yunmeng Lake. Only the people of the three great families of Yun's city knew that the rumor was indeed true. An immortal cave mansion truly exists inside. Hundreds of years ago, some tokens circulated out from the immortal cave mansion, obtained by the world. The ancestors of the Lu family were among the lucky ones, obtaining an immortal token, thus allowing them entry into the mansion. Of course, entering the mansion does not guarantee gaining benefits. It requires passing the test. Only by passing the test can one receive the immortal's reward, acquiring the corresponding benefits. In those days, it was thus for the ancestors of the Lu family, laying the foundation for the rise of the Lu family. In fact, the three great families of Yun's city all originated from this. Every 50 years, the immortal cave mansion opens, and many noble descendants send people into the mansion to participate in the test. Unfortunately, those who pass are very few. Chapter 84, Chapter 81, Slaying the Lackeys of the Noble Families, Obtaining a 7th Grade Opportunity /4. However, even so, people eager to enter the immortal cave mansion are still endless. Moreover, there is no wall that doesn't let the wind through. As time goes on, the news of the immortal cave mansion and the immortal token gradually begins to spread, known by some with ulterior motives. Undoubtedly, Chen Yiachuan, the leader of the Red Eyebrow Army, is such a person, who knows how he learned about the immortal cave mansion in the depths of Yunmeng Lake. But why does Chen Yiachuan target our Lu family? The three great families of Yun's city also know the secret, and they all possess the immortal token. Could it be that they think our Lu family is easy to bully? One Lu family elder gnashed his teeth, feeling very perplexed. After all, Yun City is home to three great noble families, the Lu family, Zai family, and Mu family. The Lu family controls the money gang, possessing numerous shops and black markets in Yun City. The Mu family, on the other hand, controls Yun City's military, with Mu Da, the patriarch of Mu family, as the city lord of Yun City and martial arts grandmaster, a person of immense power. The Zai family is quite low-key, not holding much power, merely controlling a fleet and monopolizing the fish catch business of Yunmeng Lake and the harbor business, earning a fortune daily. But the Zai family's might is the most terrifying, because there once was a cultivator with spirit root from the Zai family, reportedly cultivating in the immortal realm, and no one dares to provoke them. Even without the cultivator's descendants, merely a few martial arts grandmasters from the Zai family are untouchable. Only the Lu family looks wealthy and prestigious, yet in reality is the weakest among the three noble families. Currently, only Patriarch Lu Kai, a martial arts grandmaster, stands for the Lu family. The rest of the elders are only at the refining organ realm, with no hope of becoming grandmasters in their lifetime. As reluctant as I am to admit, Chen Yiachuan just sees our Lu family as easy to bully. That's why he targets us repeatedly. And soon the Red Eyebrow Army will attack Yun City again. If the city falls, it will be a catastrophic disaster for our Lu family. Patriarch Lu Kai gnashed his teeth, feeling deeply unwilling. After enjoying so many years of luxury and wealth, how can one tolerate such things happening? In order to protect the power of the Lu family, they will stop at nothing. Patriarch, what should we do now? Can we unite with the other two noble families to resist the Red Eyebrow Army? Yes, we must not let the Red Eyebrow Army breach Yun City at any cost. Numerous elders are highly anxious, no longer concerned with petty matters like revenge against the young couple, for the impending disaster for the Lu family weighs heavily on their minds. If this crisis is not overcome, the Lu family might be utterly doomed. Therefore, in the face of life and death, all other things must be set aside. As for the death of Lu Wenda, it's just the loss of one member of the Lu family. Compared to the entire family, that's insignificant. Even combined, we have only 4 or 5 grandmasters. However, it's said that Chen Yiachuan has spent a great deal to invite several grandmasters from outside. It can be said that victory is his for the taking. So urgent is his action, it seems that Chen Yiachuan knows the immortal cave mansion will soon open. That's why he aims to quickly attack our Yun city. Thus, we need to prepare on 2 fronts. Patriarch Lu Kai spoke solemnly. Patriarch, what preparations do we need to make? Many elders inquired. They understand that now is the moment of life and death for the Lu family. No matter the circumstances, everyone needs to unite. We need to choose the candidates for entering the immortal cave mansion. If Yun City can hold, then fine. If it cannot hold, then we need to send people through the secret passage out of Yun City, taking the immortal token with them. As long as the immortal token remains, our Lu family can rise again sooner or later. If a descendant with spirit root emerges, that would be a complete breakthrough. So even if we perish, the immortal token cannot be lost. Patriarch Lu Kai said bluntly. Yes, Patriarch. Many elders nod. Undoubtedly, the Patriarch has prepared for the worst outcome. No matter what, as a clan established for hundreds of years, it's not so easy for enemies to eradicate the Lu family. 3 days later, originally Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei remained at home, living a peaceful life. Quietly eliminating Lu Wenda did not bring him any trouble. After all, his actions were extremely secretive, with no witnesses. Even if there were witnesses, he had already disguised himself at that time. So it's impossible to find where he actually was. Virtually all hidden risks have been eliminated. However, what puzzled him was that the Lu family didn't go to great lengths to find the killer of Lu Wenda. Instead, they held back, even instructing their descendants to restrain their behavior and not leave the inner city. As a result, without the troubles caused by the Lu family's spoiled children, the outer city of Yun City had better security. Yet Jiang Fan felt the Lu family wouldn't change their nature just because of this matter. Something significant must have occurred for the Lu family to become so congenial. After all, a dog can't change its habit of eating feces. For such an arrogant and reckless Lu family to hold back like this, it must be because something major has happened. Surely his intuition was correct. Chapter 85, Chapter 81, Slaying the Noble Family Lackey, Gaining a 7th Grade Opportunity /5. It took just 3 days for another shocking news to arrive. The Red Eyebrow Army launched another attack on Yun City. This time, the might of their attack was even greater, as they assembled an army of hundreds of thousands. All the soldiers of Yun City cowered inside the city, not daring to venture out to fight the Red Eyebrow Army. This left the residents of Yun City feeling deeply shocked and fearful. Crazy, crazy. The Red Eyebrow Army has revived and gathered hundreds of thousands of troops. Didn't the last battle completely scatter the Red Eyebrow Army? Why are there more soldiers now? You also know how corrupt the government is, taxing year after year. The people are overwhelmed. Now, there's no shortage of desperate people. Spot on. You have no idea what the situation outside is like. Villages are devastated one by one. Common people have no way to survive. Just as the Red Eyebrow Army called out for help, offer a meal, people joined without hesitation. That's the reality. It's not just us in Yun's prefecture. The Great Way 13 prefectures are ablaze with warriors. That's why the court is powerless, unable to send any aid, leaving each to fight on their own. Corrupt government, people in distress. If it were me, I would join the rebellion too. Isn't it so? Despite the circumstances, the money gang still exploits us. I can't wait for the Red Eyebrow Army to enter Yun City and wipe out everyone in the money gang. Though that's what you're saying, no one knows if the Red Eyebrow Army is good. If they are a bunch of bandits, our fate wouldn't be any better. The people argued back and forth. Some applauded, believing the Red Eyebrow Army to be a righteous army, charging into Yun City to overthrow the decaying court, securing a lifeline for the civilians. Some even wanted to join the Red Eyebrow Army. After all these years, they've been oppressed by the government and gangs, leaving no way to live. As the saying goes, barefoot are fearless against shoed ones. Being pushed to this extent, they may as well fight the government. At least there would be a way out. Others were deeply concerned, convinced that neither the government nor the Red Eyebrow Army are good people. It's merely a power struggle. Even if the Red Eyebrow Army overthrows the court, it would only be a change of dynasty. The lives of ordinary people remain as before. Nowhere close to being better. In fact, amidst the chaos, they might not even survive. But no matter what they think, the outbreak of war is beyond their control. Common people can only go with the flow. No wonder the Lu family has been so quiet lately. Never openly search for the culprit. Is it because they know the Red Eyebrow Army plans to attack Yun City? Facing such a disaster, the Lu family probably can't spare the energy to deal with such trivial matters. Jiang Fan rubbed his chin, figuring out why the Lu family has been acting so unusually during this period. In normal times, the Liu family would have been loud in searching for the culprit. Even ordinary passers-by couldn't escape the Liu family's retaliation. But now, with the Red Eyebrow army attacking, the Liu family is too busy to handle the death of a wastrel. Swishing. Thinking about this, after gathering information, Jiang Fan quickly returned home. Husband, the Red Eyebrow army attacked again. What shall we do now? Su Weiwei also knew the news, instantly feeling deeply worried. She didn't expect the war to come so quickly. Originally thought the peaceful days would last a little longer, only to say the times were indeed too chaotic. No chance for ordinary people to live peacefully. Luckily, her husband is very capable, otherwise she might have perished in the turmoil. Don't worry. Not to mention if the Red Eyebrow army can break in. Even if they do break in, we won't be affected. Jiang Fan reassured. After all, he is now a martial artist in the refining organ realm. His strength compared to before is countless times stronger. Even facing hundreds of people, he could easily break through the siege. Moreover, the main enemies of the Red Eyebrow army are actually the noble families of Yun City, not ordinary civilians. The real threat to civilians is those unruly soldiers of the Red Eyebrow army. In other words, even if the Red Eyebrow army conquers Yun City, handling those soldiers would be enough. That's why he feels the danger of staying in Yun City isn't great. The biggest worry is if Yun City cannot fight back, they'll begin drafting locals, making Yun City's residents die fighting, guarding the city for them. And residents could hardly refuse. Hearing this, Su Weiwei nodded, feeling much relieved. After all, she knows her husband has obtained immortal family heritage, considered half an immortal. Facing future dangers won't be much of a problem. Moreover, they aren't lacking food now. No need to worry about food shortages in Yun City. Maybe we need to find a secret place to hide temporarily. That way, neither the government of Yun City nor the Red Eyebrow army can find us. And we can stay hidden until the war ends completely. Right now I have plenty of food, no need to contact the outside world. Jiang Fan squinted, starting to think about his next retreat plan. Chapter 86, Chapter 81, Slaying the Noble Family Lackey, Gaining a 7th Grade Opportunity /6. He thought that Yun City had many hidden places, especially the residences of the noble families, which surely had basements or secret passageways. If he could find such a residence and hide inside with Su Weiwei, then he could truly rest easy. Another 12 days passed. During this period, Yun City faced fierce attacks from the Red Eyebrow army. However, relying on its tall city walls and the dedication of its soldiers, Yun City stubbornly held out and was not breached by the Red Eyebrow army, with both sides remaining in a stalemate. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, making a short-term victory for either side unlikely. But life inside the city was not easy for the residents. With the arrival of war, food prices in the city soared wildly, increasing several times over. Even if one had money, it was not guaranteed they could buy food, because Yun City had begun to regulate the sale of grain. Each resident was allotted a specific amount of food based on the number of people in their household. This led to widespread complaints from the residents. Some families even began struggling to survive. After all, the policy was indeed good. The problem was the corrupt officials who took advantage of the system for their own gain. They saw this as an opportunity to make big money. Prices rose several times over, even selling to ordinary people at 10 times the price. To survive, the residents had no choice but to buy. Moreover, some local ruffians also caused trouble, looting and robbing everywhere. This made the internal situation in Yun City increasingly chaotic, both internally and externally. However, all of this had little to do with Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei. Before the war, Jiang Fan had already purchased a large amount of grain, so he did not need to get involved in this chaos. The two of them stayed at home, living comfortably, watching clouds rise and fall. In the dead of night, Jiang Fan left his home because the time for his 7th grade opportunity had arrived. Following the guidance of a point of opportunity deep in his sea of consciousness, he crossed several streets and finally arrived at a secluded house. The plaque at the entrance bore a large character Li. Without a doubt, this was the residence of the Li family. At that moment, Jiang Fan hid in the shadow of a corner wall, cultivating the soaring snake technique, which allowed him to conceal his breath, blend into the darkness, and erase his presence. This was undoubtedly a top-concealing breath technique. Ordinary people could not detect his existence. Furthermore, after advancing to the refining organ realm, his five senses became even more acute, and he could hear sounds from quite a distance. At that moment, he heard some voices coming from inside the residence. Damn it, this Bat King Yang Qin is simply a madman. He needs a large number of blood slaves every day and treats us Li family members as slaves. Should we really continue cooperating with him? There's no choice. Our Li family had to relocate from Tong County to Yun City and were pressured by the Liu family to join the Money Gang, essentially taking over our original Dragon King Gang's influence. Recently, they've even broken up many of our Dragon King Gang's key members, clearly wanting to completely snuff us out and leave us no way out. That's right, our Li family now has no other option but to cooperate with the Red Eyebrow Army. Once they breach Yun City, we'll be able to become the dominant force, annex the Money Gang, and even destroy the Liu family to take revenge. It's true. During this period, we need to endure humiliation and wait for the right moment. A little humiliation is nothing. Eventually, our Dragon King gang will rise again. Yeah, it's just a matter of capturing some blood slaves. After all, they're just lowly people. If they die, they die. Their lives and bones contribute to our Li family's rise, so they did not die in vain. Right? Our Li family's lives are much more valuable than those of those lowly people. Inside the residence, some people were discussing in whispers. Swish. Hearing this, Jiang Fan lightly jumped over the wall, landing on top of it. Using the cover of the night, he moved like a black cat, merging into the darkness. No one noticed his presence. He fixed his gaze and saw in the hall of the residence a man with blood-red eyes and disheveled hair, resembling a demon, completely covered in blood. The ground was littered with broken corpses. Their eyes were wide open, showing infinite terror, indicating they had died not long ago. The blood on the ground was still warm. Surrounding them were 4 or 5 Li family guards, who also showed expressions of fear. The Li family, Dragon King Gang. Even after coming to Yun City, these guys still act like savages. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He instantly recognized the true identity of the man who looked like a demon. It was none other than Bat King Yang Qin. After all, Yang Qin's wanted poster had long been circulated throughout Yun City. Everyone knew what Yang Qin looked like. The previous conversation made it clear that Bat King Yang Qin was cooperating with the Dragon King Gang. Rumor had it that Bat King Yang Qin enjoyed devouring human blood and was notorious for his evil deeds and countless killings. He was even more terrifying and cruel than imagined. He regarded human lives as worthless. Wait, isn't that Jiang Niu's family? Jiang Fan looked closely and immediately recognized the familiar bodies among the corpses on the ground. It was his neighbor Jiang Niu's family. They were vegetable sellers, hardworking, ordinary folk who sold produce at the market. But now they had become corpses, lying on the ground, devoid of any signs of life. The entire family had been captured here and killed by Bat King Yang Qin. The culprits behind this were undoubtedly the Dragon King Gang and the Li family members. Jiang Fan remembered some rumors he had heard recently about neighbors going missing at times. But recently Yun City was too chaotic. Everyone was preoccupied with their own survival. Even if some people disappeared, others had no time to care. Jiang Fan hadn't given much thought to these disappearance rumors either. Who would have thought that the missing people had been captured by the Dragon King Gang and handed over to Bat King Yang Qin for his blood-sucking? Not enough, not nearly enough. With just this little blood, who exactly can it satisfy? You must immediately mobilize more people and catch at least a few hundred. If you fail to catch them, I'll suck your blood instead. Bat King Yang Qin growled angrily, feeling the yin-cold qi within him growing even more intense, almost uncontrollable, with a sense of falling into a demonic path. He knew that he was facing a tribulation before becoming a grandmaster. If he could overcome it, he would become a martial arts grandmaster, achieving cultivation perfection. Then he would no longer need to drink blood. If he couldn't overcome it, he would perish, his path ending in failure. Therefore, no matter what, he needed more blood to quell the yin-cold qi within him. Otherwise, he would surely die. Chapter 87, Chapter 82, Advancing to Grandmaster, Killing from Afar, Qi enters Danshan. What? Hearing this, the expressions of the people from the Li family changed. This Bat King, Yang Qin, was truly overbearing. They were merely in a cooperative relationship, yet he really treated them like servants. But considering the future of the Li family and the difference in their strengths, they felt it best not to provoke this madman at the moment, or else they would only be asking for trouble. The leader, Elder Li Lei of the Li family and also the gang leader of the Dragon King gang, spoke. Lord Yang, I know you want more blood slaves, but Yun City is in chaos right now. We need to be very cautious when taking action. If too many people go missing, it might draw the attention of the three great noble families in Yun City, and then both you and I would be in trouble. He, too, wanted to capture a large number of blood slaves in one go. But things were not that simple. Currently, Yun City was still under the rule of the three noble families. Even if the noble families did not care much about the common people, too many missing persons would still trigger their sensitive nerves, possibly exposing the Li family. So every time they took action, the Li family was very cautious, leaving no trace behind. Silence. It's precisely because it's so chaotic now that you have more opportunities. You don't need to worry about anything. The so-called three noble families of Yun City are merely small troubles. I am on the verge of breaking through to the martial arts grandmaster level. Once I become a grandmaster, I can immediately attack the three noble families. Then, in cooperation with the Red Eyebrow Army outside, the destruction of the three noble families will only be a matter of moments. Bat King Yang Qin said with a ferocious expression. The Bat Demon technique he cultivated was not an ordinary martial arts technique. Once he became a grandmaster, his strength would certainly surpass that of other grandmasters. Casual encounters with 2 or 3 grandmasters would not pose a threat to him. So now he only lacked a bit of time and some blood slaves. As long as he overcame this calamity, he would have a limitless future, with no one able to stop him. Even Chen Yaochuan would not be a match for him if his Bat Demon technique reached great success. Hearing this, Li Lei and the others' eyes flickered, showing tempting expressions. If they could indeed help break through Yun City, then they would not have to endure there any longer. So this risk was worth taking. After all, it was only some lowly commoners dying, which was nothing of importance. The only pity was that they were not in Tonk County, but in Yun City. If they were in Tonk County, they wouldn't have to worry about anything and could directly capture the lowly fishermen as blood slaves without concern for consequences. But Yun City, after all, was not their territory, so there were still some considerations. Lord Yang, we understand. In the coming days, our Li family will provide you with many blood slaves. Such insignificant commoners are totally beneath concern. Li Lei and the others immediately made a promise. They also wanted to quickly eliminate the 3 noble families of Yun City. Only then would the Li family have the chance to rise. Otherwise, who knew how long they would have to wait? Very good. Bat King Yang Qin felt very satisfied, as he was at a critical moment and should not take action himself. Without the help of the Li family, he would be in big trouble. It was hateful that earlier, a thief had killed all his trusted subordinates. Otherwise, he would not have needed to rely on the Li family. Before he became a martial arts grandmaster, he still needed their help. These vile people, they truly deserve death. From afar, Jiang Fan watched the scene, his eyes showing a glint of cold light. These people from noble families regarded human life as worthless, and none of them were good people. Back in Osmanthus village, he had been oppressed by people from the Dragon King gang. If he hadn't had some strength and acted cautiously, he might have died long ago. Even so, the number of fishermen who died due to the Dragon King gang's oppression was countless. When he didn't have strength before, he could only endure. But now, he didn't need to endure any longer. This was a perfect opportunity to take revenge. As for Bat King Yang Qin, there was even less to say. Given his crimes, even dying 100 times would not be enough. Whoosh! Thinking of this, Jiang Fan didn't hesitate. His figure flashed as he charged towards Li Lei and the others. He held the Chengying sword, executing Aurora swordsmanship. Sword lights of terrifying brightness attacked with unimaginable speed. What? At that moment, Li Lei and the others were about to leave, planning to help Bat King Yang Qin continue capturing blood slaves, fantasizing about their future grandeur and endless riches in Yun City. But in that instant, their hair stood on end, sensing a deadly crisis. This was the martial artist's instinct. After all, they weren't weak. There were 5 of them in total, 2 in the bone-forging realm and 3 in the strong sinew realm. This kind of strength counted as elite, not something ordinary people could compare with. However, compared with Jiang Fan, a martial artist in the refining organ realm, they were far inferior. Bang tilde tilde. Before Li Lei and the others could react, a sword light flashed, containing terrifying sharpness. The next second their heads flew off, blood gushing out. Instantly, there were 5 headless corpses here. Their heads crashed hard onto the ground, eyes wide open, pupils contracted, seemingly showing endless terror, shock, and disbelief. Chapter 88. Chapter 82. Advancing to Grandmaster Killing from Afar, Qi enters Danshan /2. They never expected to be ambushed at this moment. Moreover, the enemy's strength was overwhelmingly powerful. In just a single move, they were slaughtered without a chance to retaliate. Indeed, I am invincibly strong right now. Jiang Fan stood on the ground, gripping the Chengying sword tightly, feeling immensely satisfied inside. The one he had just killed was Li Lei, the gang leader of the Dragon King gang. Back in the day, Li Lei was so arrogant, so dominant, ruling over dozens of fishing villages, with thousands of thugs under him, like a tyrant emperor, causing countless fishermen to tremble under his reign. Even he had to obediently pay the monthly salary, suffering exploitation from the Dragon King gang, utterly helpless, only able to endure. But now, this gang leader Li Lei, along with other Li family members, was easily slain by him with a single swing of his sword. As easy and simple as slaughtering chickens and ducks. Undoubtedly, he was no longer the mere ant controlled by others, deciding life and death. Instead, he was the strong one, deciding the life and death of others. Li Lei probably wouldn't have dreamed that his killer was once a mere fisherman. However, Jiang Fan had no intention to explain these things. He didn't wish to reveal his identity. His sole desire was for these Li family people to die cleanly, which was more than enough. That was enough to clear his mind. Who are you? At this moment, Bat King Yang Qin's pupils contracted, his eyes fixated on the uninvited guest in front. He never expected an enemy to suddenly appear at this time. The opponent said nothing, directly eliminating this group of Li family people. Normally, with his temper, he would have struck mercilessly. After all, this group of Li family people worked for him, could be considered his own. Now the opponent killed Li Lei and others. Wasn't that a slap in the face? But now he was at a critical point in his cultivation. The cold breath within his body was rampaging. If he acted rashly, he might fall into a demon-induced frenzy. That's why his temper improved significantly, allowing him to control his moods. After all, he wasn't sure whether the opponent was a foe of the Li family or his own. If negotiation was possible, he wouldn't mind enduring a bit. Dead men need not speak much. Jiang Fan faintly looked at Bat King Yang Qin. Although he hadn't met Yang Qin before, his actions alone were enough for Jiang Fan to decide to act. If this person continued living, who knows how many would suffer. Therefore, he didn't intend to engage in much conversation. Dead men, you're remarkably bold. No one has dared speak to me like this for a very long time. Though I don't know who you are, you're just a refining organ realm, right? Do you think using your strength is enough to contend with me, Yang Qin? Let me show you now what it means that there is always someone better, beyond heaven. Upon hearing this, Bat King Yang Qin was instantly enraged. Even though his current situation wasn't great, handling opponents of the same realm was still a breeze. His Bat Demon technique was a top cultivation technique, after all. Though its side effects were considerable, its power was immensely formidable, allowing rapid progress. Many refining organ realm martial artists had perished by his hand. A mere unknown refining organ martial artist dared to provoke like this. Complete disregard for him, Yang Qin, was truly intolerable. As a whoosh. In an instant, Yang Qin's figure flickered, activating the Bat Demon technique. His entire body became like a bat, incredibly fast, leaving afterimages in the air. This was the terror of the Bat Demon technique, granting him the world's top speed. Even compared to martial arts grandmasters, he wasn't less formidable. His extraordinary speed allowed him to effortlessly deal with any martial artist. Often the enemy wouldn't know what happened, only to be instantly killed, with their heart pierced. Die. Yang Qin's face turned fierce, His hands seemed to transform into terrifying bat claws, containing the power of sharpness, which would certainly gouge out the heart when striking the enemy. Even refining organ realm martial artists couldn't withstand his attack. At this moment, he seemed to envision the scene of this unfamiliar enemy being pierced by his claw. Initially, he didn't want to act, but since this boy sought death, he wouldn't blame him. Too slow. At that moment, Yang Qin's face changed, hearing Jiang Fan's calm voice. So calm that the air seemed to drop by dozens of degrees. The air was filled with a terrifying killing intent. He even saw the opponent's calm face, seemingly having already seen through all his actions. Not just foreseeing his actions, but predicting them. As if everything he was doing was in the opponent's view. This feeling was like being a captured ant. No matter how the ant struggled, it was futile. This filled him with immense fear. It seemed the person before him was someone he couldn't provoke. Yet at this moment, it was impossible to halt. If he's not dead, then I'm the one who'd perish. Thud. In the next second, Jiang Fan, holding the Chengying sword, swung it towards Yang Qin. The swordsmanship of the micro-realm enhanced the sword's power to the utmost. Tens of thousands of pounds of force suddenly erupted, the speed reaching an astonishing degree. Chapter 89. Chapter 82. Advancing to Grandmaster, killing from afar, Qi enters Danshan /3. As if a cold light tore through the boundless darkness, containing a terrifying sharpness. In an instant it locked onto the aura of Yang Qin, regardless of how the opponent dodged. It was all in vain. Impossible. Bat King Yang Qin was momentarily stunned. He found he couldn't withstand the power of this sword at all. A terrifying sword light swept over, invincible, slicing through iron like mud. In just an instant, his entire body was cut into two halves. It was as simple as slicing tofu, effortless. This is ridiculous. Am I, Yang Qin, dead like this? And dead at the hands of an unknown person. I was supposed to become a martial arts grandmaster, even an innate martial artist. How can I die here like this? What a joke. Bat King Yang Qin was very unwilling just before dying. He felt he had many grand ambitions not yet fully realized. But now, slain by a single sword, all the ambition turned to nothing. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Immediately, Bat King Yang Qin's corpse heavily hit the ground, blood flowing everywhere. His eyes were wide open, revealing endless panic and unwillingness. He seemed unable to believe he had died at the hands of the enemy. Clearly, he was merely a step away from the realm of martial arts grandmaster. How could he die here for no reason? It's utterly ridiculous. But no matter how unwilling he was, he still died at the hands of Jiang Fan, powerless to resist. A mere martial artist in the refining organ realm dares to boast in my presence. Jiang Fan looked calmly at the dead Bat King Yang Qin. His heart was at peace. Originally, he was unclear about his current strength, but after battling Bat King Yang Qin, he immediately realized his combat power was quite strong. He could be called invincible in the refining organ realm, even capable of contending with grandmasters. After all, the soaring snake technique he cultivated was incredibly powerful. Upon advancing to the refining organ realm, it endowed him not only with immense strength but also extraordinary speed. Additionally, it gave him superhuman senses. It's undeniable, Bat King Yang Qin's speed was indeed decent, even able to leave afterimages. To ordinary martial artists, Yang Qin was indeed a particularly difficult opponent. Relying on absolute speed, Yang Qin killed Grandmaster Mu De and then escaped effortlessly. Even for a Grandmaster, killing him wasn't an easy task. This was the special skill Yang Qin relied on for fame. The problem was, his superhuman senses allowed him to easily perceive Yang Qin's every move. The speed that the opponent prided himself on seemed like a snail to Jiang Fan. Therefore, Jiang Fan didn't need to make any moves. With just a gentle sword stroke, he split Yang Qin in two. It's as simple as chopping vegetables, effortless. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Not long after, Jiang Fan made a move and used corpse-dissolving water to dissolve the corpses in the entire mansion. Basically, in the blink of an eye, the corpses in the entire mansion were completely dissolved, completely vanished. It's safe to say these people were completely erased by him, as if they had never appeared here. What a pity. If I hand Bat King Yang Qin's head over to the government, I might get quite a bit of reward silver. But I can't do that. Jiang Fan remembered the government putting a bounty on Bat King Yang Qin, offering a reward of up to 100,000 taels for his head. If he handed it over, he would surely get rich overnight. The pity was he couldn't do it, or he would definitely expose his strength and whereabouts. This would be completely not worth the loss. Besides, he already had plenty of silver taels. It's entirely enough to live a long time. Getting more silver taels actually holds no significance. If he heads to the cultivation realm, then the gold, silver, and jewelry of the mortal world would purely be worthless scraps. Therefore, his desire for silver taels isn't very strong. He has long surpassed the stage of initial accumulation now. Unlike in the beginning, he no longer desperately craves large amounts of silver taels. Dong. At that moment, Jiang Fan sensed a message from the depths of his sea of consciousness. You've killed Bat King Yang Qin and others, avoided a catastrophe, and gained 600 luck points. What? Receiving this message, Jiang Fan's eyes suddenly lit up with excitement. Although he didn't get a chance this time, he acquired a full 600 luck points. Adding the 860 luck points he previously got, it means he has a total of 1,460 luck points. If he spends over 1,000 luck points, he can become a martial arts grandmaster at any time. Great! Jiang Fan clenched his fists. The strength of the refining organ realm is indeed quite good, enough to walk openly in Yun City. No matter what power it's placed in, it's considered a top expert. But compared to grandmasters, it's nothing. Only by becoming a martial arts grandmaster can one truly become the overlord of a major force, the local emperor. A grandmaster can establish a mortal family. This family can thrive for hundreds of years in the mortal world. This shows the high value of the martial arts grandmaster. Across the Great Wei Kingdom, the number of martial arts grandmasters is very rare. Though not to the point of being countable on fingers, they are incredibly scarce. Throughout Yun City, there are only 5 or 6 martial arts grandmasters. Chapter 90, Chapter 82, Advancing to Grandmaster Killing from Afar, Qi enters Danshan /4. It should be noted, this is one of the Great Wei 13 prefecture cities. Even in such a prosperous place, there are only 5 or 6 grandmasters. It's easy to imagine how few there must be elsewhere. Therefore, once he becomes a martial arts grandmaster, even if the Red Eyebrow army really attacks, facing the siege of 100,000 troops, he could still escape calmly without worrying about being killed by the enemy. Only with such a level of strength can one be considered powerful. No rush, let's find the 7th grade opportunity first. Jiang Fan took a deep breath. He wished he could immediately become a martial arts grandmaster now, but he also knew this place wasn't suitable for advancement, as it was Li family's territory. Who knows what might happen next? He might be disturbed by others. So he restrained the excitement and thrill deep inside his heart. Even more importantly, the 7th grade opportunity hasn't been obtained yet. According to the hint from the opportunity light, the 7th grade opportunity is in this mansion. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. Following the hint, he ventured into the deepest part of the mansion, arriving at a secluded bedroom. Then he stepped inside, approaching the bed in the bedroom. Thud! With a gentle press of the bed's secret button, the bed instantly cracked open, revealing a dark cavity that seemed to extend deep underground. As expected of a noble family's mansion, it has hidden secrets and underground cellar. Jiang Fan was instantly delighted. He had always wanted to find a secretive place to hide, but had never found one. After all, a mansion with a basement is rare. Mansions like this are long occupied by those noble families, impossible for ordinary people to obtain. However, after searching everywhere to no avail, he found one effortlessly here. If he could occupy this house, it could become a temporary safe haven for him and Su Weiwei. They could completely hide here to calmly evade this calamity. But this is the Li family's house. Now the Bat King Yang Qin and Dragon King gang leader Li Lei are all dead. The Li family will surely know about this soon. Trouble follows trouble endlessly. So rather than waiting for the Li family to come knocking, I should go to them directly and destroy the Li family. This way, it would be settled once and for all. And I could take the opportunity to avenge past grievances. Jiang Fan's eyes showed a hint of cold light. He wanted to root out the enemies. It's known that the hatred between him, the Dragon King gang, and the Li family was long irreconcilable. Countless villagers from Osmanthus village and other fishing villages died at the hands of the Li family. Without strength, all one could do is endure. But now it's different. He is already a martial artist in the refining organ realm, completely capable of slaughtering the entire Li family, making the Li family pay the price. These noble families have exploited common folk for long enough. It's time for them to pay. Of course, more importantly, it's about vengeance. Only with the complete annihilation of the Li family can he prevent his whereabouts from being exposed and avoid future retaliation from the Li family. Meanwhile, he could seize this house as a temporary safe haven for himself. And after the Li family's demise, no one else would know about this cellar. This would greatly safeguard the safety of himself and Su Weiwei. No doubt doing so would absolutely achieve multiple gains. But now I can't hurry. I should still wait until I find the 7th grade opportunity. Once I become a martial arts grandmaster, I'll deal with the Li family's trouble. Jiang Fan took a deep breath, temporarily calming down, suppressing the terrifying murderous intent that kept surfacing deep within. Even though his current strength is indeed good, and even if he attacks the Li family now, relying on the current strength of the Li family would likely be unable to resist him, he has such confidence. The problem is that even with a 1% chance of failure, he feels he should not take the risk. If he becomes a martial arts grandmaster, his strength will surge, and even the 1% chance of failure would be eliminated. So only by becoming a grandmaster, and then seeking revenge can he be absolutely secure. Swoosh. Thinking this, Jiang Fan immediately slipped through the opening, starting to investigate the situation in the basement. More than 10 minutes passed. Jiang Fan thoroughly understood the situation inside the basement. The area exceeds 70 to 80 square meters, with 3 rooms and 2 halls. Moreover, underground passages are quite extensive. There are 4 exits in total. One can directly lead to the outside world, without worrying about being trapped at the room's entrance. Nor do they need to worry about the basement being dim, for luminous pearls are embedded in the walls, serving as light bulbs. Thus, the basement is as bright as daylight. Even more astonishing is that the basement has a well to circulate air. As long as there is sufficient food, one could stay in the basement for a very long time. One cannot help but admire the Li family. Back then, the Li family must have spent untold effort and money to build this mansion. This isn't something achievable overnight. It only shows that for the noble family's survival, spending more money, more costs is no issue. Indeed, a perfect place of refuge. Jiang Fan felt greatly satisfied. As long as he can eliminate the Li family, completely wiping them out, then this place of refuge would be solely his, and no one else would know its existence. Chapter 91, Chapter 82, Advancing to Grandmaster Killing from Afar, Qi enters Danshan /5. However, he still calmed down temporarily. After all, his purpose for coming here was to search for the 7th grade opportunity. Thinking of this, he entered one of the rooms. This room was filled with various kinds of miscellaneous items. The Li family likely placed many daily necessities here for shelter. The pots, bowls, and pans were all present. In addition, there were many decorations, porcelain, and other items. Among all the clutter, he found a seemingly ordinary ring. Space ring. This is a treasure of the cultivator. Jiang Fan's eyes suddenly lit up, feeling very excited. As expected, just as he anticipated, any opportunity above the 7th grade belonged to cultivators, and it would inevitably lead to acquiring immortal treasures. The Li family had probably possessed this space ring for a long time. But except for cultivators, no one could open the space within the space ring. Thus, up to now, the Li family had only treated the ring as an ordinary decoration. In fact, if Jiang Fan hadn't used the power of luck points, he probably wouldn't have been able to open the space ring for his own use. Without strength, even treasures before one's eyes would be powerless. The Li family was exactly in such a position. Time to go back. Thinking of this, after obtaining the 7th grade opportunity, Jiang Fan chose not to linger here and quickly returned home. After all, staying in this residence might lead to encounters with members of the Li family. Before advancing to the Grandmaster realm, he still did not want to alert them unnecessarily. Soon after, Jiang Fan returned home. Shielded by the cover of night, no one realized he had left the residence. No one detected his whereabouts. Undoubtedly, the rewards from this operation were quite substantial. Not only did he obtain the 7th grade opportunity, but also acquired 600 luck points, clearing all obstacles for his advancement to the Grandmaster realm. At this moment, the path to becoming a Grandmaster was unimpeded. Let's begin. Back in the cultivation room, Jiang Fan took a deep breath to calm his emotions. Focused and tranquil. With a thought, he immediately consumed a large number of luck points on his person. In an instant, 900 luck points were consumed. A mysterious energy emerged from the depths of his consciousness and rapidly spread throughout his body. His skin, muscles, bones, meridians, internal organs, and other parts were strengthened, and the enhancement was at a visibly frenetic pace. Meanwhile, his blood energy within was rapidly increasing. Almost in the blink of an eye, his blood energy surged to its peak. This was akin to a series of soaring snakes roaming within him. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Suddenly, Jiang Fan automatically activated the soaring snake breathing technique, as if he transformed into a soaring snake, drawing endless mysterious matter from the heavens and earth. Every pore on his body inhaled and exhaled clouds. Centered around his body, vast clouds expanded, filling the room with dense fog. As if living in the sky. It seemed he had also become a soaring snake, soaring through the heavens. Fortunately, this was his own house. If it were outside, it might be noticed by others due to such an anomaly. It's uncertain how much time passed, but Jiang Fan perceived that every part of his body had been fortified to the extreme, instantly reaching the level of perfection in the refining organ realm. If relying on personal hard training, it's unknown how many years it would take to reach such a realm. Yet by consuming luck points, it was achieved instantly. Saved an unknown amount of hard training time. Bang! Just at this moment, Jiang Fan's body trembled as he sensed a burst of mysterious power from deep within. As if the inner blood energy, an external mysterious force, merged and transformed into a completely new power. He recalled the Cultivation secret manual he had previously seen and instantly understood what this was. Grandmaster's Chi Force. This is the Chi Force, naturally nurtured only when the blood energy within the body achieves perfection in the refining organ realm. Only by generating Chi Force internally can one be called a martial arts grandmaster. Before a grandmaster, a martial artist could at most use physical strength. But as a grandmaster, fearsome Chi Force is cultivated within. A punch can strike a fatal blow from meters away, killing an enemy. Sometimes the fist hasn't even appeared, yet the Chi Force within explodes, hitting remotely with the 100-step divine fist. Even some grandmasters have Chi Force permeate their entire bodies. This is akin to having a layer of armor covering the body. Ordinary swords, arrows, and other weapons would instantly bounce off upon hitting Chi Force. This is why a martial arts grandmaster can kill endlessly amidst armies, yet remain unscathed. Strike! Instantly, Jiang Fan clenched his fist and stepped forward, sensing the Chi Force emanating from deep within his elixir field and sea of Chi, explosively released, a terrifying Chi Force striking out remotely, seemingly forming a soaring snake, containing formidable destructive power. Bang! At that moment, the wall in front of him was instantly blasted with a large hole. Stones shattered into pieces, scattering in all directions, along with a cloud of dust. So strong, this is the Grandmaster's Chi Force. Jiang Fan's eyes gleamed with a hint of brilliance, overwhelmed with excitement. Compared to before, his combat power had increased several times over. Chapter 92, Chapter 82, Advancing to Grandmaster Killing from Afar, Chi enters Danshan /6. A single punch across the air, with the explosion of a Grandmaster's Chi Force, is absolutely not something that a refining organ realm martial artist can compare to. If such a punch strikes a refining organ realm martial artist, it's estimated they would be blown apart instantly, their internal organs reduced to a mass of shattered meat. The gap between the two is indeed enormous, far beyond any numerical measurement. Chi Force is continuously nurtured within the elixir field and sea of Chi. The stronger the Chi and blood within the body, the more Chi Force is nurtured. Thus, the amount of Chi Force contained by different grandmasters varies. If it's a top martial arts technique, then naturally the Chi and blood contained are also the most abundant. Moreover, after ascending to Grandmaster, the Chi Force nurtured is astonishingly vast. Jiang Fan could feel the strands of Chi Force nurturing deep within his elixir field and sea of Chi, all of which were special Chi Force nurtured by the soaring snake technique, soaring snake Chi Force. each strand of chi force, like a soaring snake, full of endless vitality and lethality. It is precisely because of practicing the soaring snake technique that the chi force within him is so vast, far surpassing that of ordinary martial arts grandmasters. Even though he had just ascended to grandmaster, his strength was not something ordinary grandmasters could compare to. Grandmaster's chi force is not just for killing from a distance. It can also permeate the entire body, covering every corner of the body. In this way, when the body is covered by chi force, it's like wearing armor. Once chi force covers the whole body, it seems like a humanoid demon beast. No matter how the enemy strikes, they cannot harm the grandmaster's body. All attacks will be easily blocked. Jiang Fan operated the soaring snake technique, and he sensed the chi force deep within the elixir field, and sea of chi instantly became like a soaring snake, beginning to circulate throughout his entire body, covering every inch of his skin, muscle, and internal organs. The entire body seemed to be covered by the power of the soaring snake. It's as if a dense pattern of scales emerged on the surface of the body. The defensive power within it had reached an astonishing level. Even a divine blade could only be blocked for a moment. If it's a mundane knife or sword, then striking against it would cause them to shatter into pieces from the recoil. No wonder martial arts grandmasters are so terrifying on the battlefield, akin to a great weapon of mass destruction. Often, when a single grandmaster takes action, they can pierce through the entire battlefield, terrifying countless soldiers. Now I am simply too strong. Power has increased to at least 50,000 pounds. Jiang Fan clenched his fists, feeling the immense power surging within him. Even if he didn't use any chi force, the sheer power alone could smash a giant boulder. With every move, there was a terrifying destructive power contained within. Of course, ordinary martial arts techniques would not possess such power even if one ascends to grandmaster. It's only because of the special nature of the soaring snake technique that granted him such tremendous strength, which allowed him a trace of the soaring snake's characteristics. It's not just about strength. Even my speed has increased several times compared to before. Jiang Fan's form flickered. With a light leap, his speed reached an incredible level, leaving behind trails of afterimages. He sensed that as he moved, somehow every pore on his body resonated with the air. This allowed him to slightly harness airflow. So every time he moved it felt as if the power of airflow was pushing him forward. In a way, it's like a diluted version of cloud riding. Although incomparable to a cultivator, compared to grandmasters, it's much faster. Moreover, his movements are also very agile, allowing him to move and change direction at will. The power of the five senses has also been enhanced. When the chi force covers the entire body, it seems to also reduce one's presence. At the same time, it can conceal the aura on oneself. Jiang Fan also discovered a trace of the soaring snake technique's characteristics. After advancing to the grandmaster realm, these characteristics also became amplified. When he operated the soaring snake force within him, he felt his aura seem to completely withdraw into his skin's depth, making him seemingly merge with heaven and earth, becoming a part of nature. This way, others would naturally overlook his presence. This is also the secret to reducing one's presence. As long as one becomes part of nature, they become an element of it. This way, others naturally won't pay much attention to Jiang Fan, thinking he is just a stone by the roadside. The cultivation of a martial arts grandmaster is actually quite simple. It is to continuously strengthen the chi force within the body. When the grandmaster's chi force within the elixir field and sea of chi reaches the perfection level, then you can strive for the innate realm. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. He knew that the innate realm is the true gate for countless mortals, like a heavenly chasm, blocking countless martial Dao talents. Don't think that mortals can seemingly enter the Dao through martial arts. It doesn't mean the path to becoming immortal is cut off for mortals. But how many martial arts grandmasters are there throughout the Wei Kingdom? Even if one becomes a martial arts grandmaster, how many can actually enter the innate realm and nurture a spirit root? But striving for the innate realm is not simple. Besides needing the grandmaster's chi force within the body to reach perfection, the most important is to comprehend martial Dao will. For example, fist intent, sword intent, saber intent, and so on. Only by comprehending martial Dao can the soul undergo transformation, and thus operate the chi force within, impacting the mud palace pill. In this way, one can undergo postnatal returning to innate, thus nurturing an acquired spirit root. Jiang Fan recalled the contents of that book. Although Taoist Liu's life was indeed a failure, the secret manual left by him was tremendously helpful to ordinary martial artists, leaving them a path for cultivation. Without this secret manual, he wouldn't even know how to become an innate martial artist or how to nurture a spirit root. In a sense, once you become an innate martial artist, you are equivalent to becoming a Qi cultivation stage cultivator. But comprehending martial Tao will is not as simple as imagined. Even with so many martial arts grandmasters, very few actually reach this step. This requires incredible perception to succeed. Jiang Fan clenched his fists. But he also knew a path to comprehend martial Tao will, which is to practice top martial arts techniques, like fist technique, swordsmanship, saber technique, spear technique, etc. The more top-level the secret manual, the more likely it is to comprehend martial Tao will. Just like Aurora swordsmanship, it's that kind of swordsmanship secret manual. Once reaching the perfection level, there's a possibility to comprehend sword intent. So among the martial world, many martial artists are eager to find top martial arts secret manuals. One could say it's equivalent to a path to the heavens. This is why, after the Li family lost the Aurora swordsmanship, they deeply regretted it. After all, it's equivalent to losing a path to becoming an innate martial artist. The loss is tremendously severe. Of course, it's not to say ordinary martial arts techniques cannot comprehend martial Tao will. There are still people in the world with extraordinary perception. Relying solely on ordinary martial arts techniques, they can comprehend martial Tao will. But this is extremely difficult. It's like someone using only elementary school knowledge to create a nuclear bomb. It's simply defying the heavens. It's almost impossible. Even if such a prodigious person exists, they're undoubtedly rare, appearing once in centuries. This is not a path that ordinary people can emulate. Chapter 93, Chapter 83 Blood Tiger Pill, Golden Sword Talisman, Great Harvest. Thinking of this, Jiang Fan's heart stirred, and he immediately opened the virtual panel on his body. Name Jiang Fan. Life chart, great blessings equal to heaven attribute, surviving great calamities, subsequent blessings. Lifespan 100. Luck points 560. Cultivation technique, soaring snake technique incomplete, 6th layer. Skills fishing, perfection. Disguise technique, perfection cows poison scripture, mastery Aurora swordsmanship, great success. Realm, Grandmaster Realm 1%. Undoubtedly, his lifespan had also increased by 5 years compared to before. This extended his lifespan to a full 100 years. In a sense, this also marked the limit of a mortal's lifespan. Even the healthiest mortal, even in existence at the Grandmaster level, would only survive 100 years. Once 100 years is reached, the great limit is imminent. At the same time, upon advancing to the Grandmaster realm, his strength and speed received a tremendous boost, and his various abilities saw significant growth, so his fishing skills and disguise technique had both reached the level of perfection. Fishing skills aside, as they are merely fishing techniques and serve no significant purpose. But the disguise technique at the perfection realm is different. It allows Jiang Fan to easily change his appearance and body, transforming into the appearance of different people. If Jiang Fan wishes, he can even transform into an old man, a child, or a woman. Of course, those are just changes in appearance and body. The essence remains unchanged. The reason he could reach this extent is naturally because Jiang Fan's control over his body had reached an impeccable level. He could easily manipulate every inch of muscle, every bone, and even his skin. That's why he could freely change his appearance. With the disguise technique at the perfection level, he no longer had to worry about his identity being exposed. Even if someone saw his appearance, he could change into another's appearance at any time. According to rumor, a master known as the 100 Transformations True Monarch in the martial world achieved this with the disguise technique at the perfection level. Now Jiang Fan could do the same. There are still 560 luck points left, which isn't too bad. If I want to advance to become an innate martial artist, I need at least 2,000 luck points. That's not a small number. After all, it requires enduring many tribulations to potentially gather so many luck points. Jiang Fan clenched his fist. He felt that although 2,000 luck points were a lot, once he succeeded, he could embark on the path of martial arts, nurture a spirit root, and truly embark on the path to immortality. Compared to other grandmasters, his path would indeed be a broad highway. As long as he accumulates enough luck points, he would certainly be able to advance. This was already quite remarkable. Right, there's also a space ring. This is a 7th grade opportunity. I wonder what's inside. At this point, Jiang Fan took out the mysterious space ring from the Li family's residence, as this was a 7th grade opportunity, certain to contain some rare treasures. Thinking of this, he immediately consumed 10 luck points, instantly claiming ownership of this space ring. He perceived that the space within this ring was not small, being as much as 30 cubic meters in size. It was fully capable of storing many treasures. There's a will here. Jiang Fan's heart stirred as he saw many words written inside, seemingly left by the owner of this space ring. With a quick glance, he figured out the contents of the will. The owner of this space ring was named Li Yuan, one of the direct descendants of the Li family from several hundred years ago. The person once ventured into an immortal cave mansion deep within Yunmeng Lake, from which he obtained a cultivation technique, Golden Yuan formula, and he also possessed a low-grade spirit root, embarking on the path of cultivation thereafter. Due to the scarcity of spiritual qi in the mortal world, his progress was slow, so he decided to leave the Li family to venture into the cultivation realm. After years of wandering in the cultivation realm, his cultivation also advanced to the 5th layer of qi cultivation. Yet he still couldn't see any hope of further advancement. During an adventure in a relic cave mansion, he was severely injured and on the verge of death. Therefore, Li Yuan planned to return to the mortal world, back to the Li family, bringing all his lifetime accumulations along. Who could have imagined, upon just returning to the Li family, he suddenly died? He didn't even get the chance to explain all his last words. He only left behind some relics. The descendants of the Li family weren't aware of the existence of the space ring, merely treating it as an ancestor's ornament. Since they had no spirit root, they were unable to open the space ring and naturally couldn't uncover its secrets. Thus, several hundred years later, the space ring remained unopened, still left here. Ultimately, it fell into Jiang Fan's hands. Wait, this is a bottle of blood tiger pills. There are at least 5 inside. Jiang Fan's eyes instantly lit up, feeling quite excited because these were elixirs from the cultivation realm. According to this cultivator Li Yuan's introduction, the main ingredient of the blood tiger pills came from a demon tiger. A demon tiger is not comparable to an ordinary fierce tiger. The energy contained in their blood and flesh can't even be matched by some spirit medicines. Therefore, the elixirs refined from the demon tiger's blood and flesh, upon consumption, significantly enhance the martial artist's cultivation speed, even having a considerable effect on grandmasters. Chapter 94, Chapter 83, Blood Tiger Pill Golden Sword Talisman Great Harvest /2. Taking a blood tiger pill accelerates a grandmaster's cultivation. It allows a grandmaster to complete the qi force deep within their elixir field and sea of qi more quickly, saving a lot of time in arduous cultivation. This was originally brought back by the cultivator Li Yuan from the cultivation realm, intending to help the Li family grow. Who would have thought that the Li family never discovered the secret of this space ring? Spirit stones, these seem to be the spirit stones used by cultivators. There are actually 35 of them. Jiang Fan was very excited. According to the autobiography of Taoist Liu, the basic currency unit in the cultivation realm is spirit stones. Gold, silver, and jewelry are of no use in the cultivation realm. Only spirit stones can purchase treasures from the cultivation realm. Indeed, 35 spirit stones are already quite a considerable fortune. Even the cultivator Li Yuan took many years to accumulate so many spirit stones. No way, there are even talismans from a cultivator. These are golden sword talismans, 5 in total. If you activate this talisman, it can condense a wave of golden sword qi, instantly shooting out. Even an ordinary qi cultivation stage cultivator wouldn't be able to withstand it and would be instantly slain. This is truly a deadly weapon. Jiang Fan clenched his fists. One must admit, this cultivator Li Yuan really gave it his all, perhaps because he was about to die. He wanted to give back to his family, helping them to grow strong. But now all these treasures have become his own, turning into his trump cards. However, the talismans of a cultivator cannot be used by mortals. Jiang Fan stroked his chin. He just tried to activate one of the talismans, but it didn't budge. It was like a dead object. But this is very normal because activating talisman requires the spiritual power of a cultivator. If there is no spiritual power to activate them, then the talismans naturally cannot be used. So for mortals, these talismans are no different from worthless scrap metal. But just because other mortals can't use them, doesn't mean Jiang Fan can't. In fact, he tried earlier. If he consumes his luck points, he can activate these golden sword talismans. With just one luck point, he can activate one golden sword talisman. Undoubtedly, this could become his strongest trump card. If he possesses these 5 golden sword talismans, even when facing numerous grandmasters' siege, he can handle it with ease. He can even have a chance to counterattack when facing cultivators' assassination. It's truly worthy of being called a 7th-grade opportunity. It's simply amazing. Jiang Fan clenched his fists in excitement. This 7th-grade opportunity was a massive gain for him. What makes him even happier is skimming the benefit from the Li family, continuously taking away the Li family's destiny. If it weren't for him, perhaps the Li family really might have produced a child of destiny, gained the ancestors' relics, and embarked on the cultivation path to become a Qi cultivator. In that case, the Li family might have become a cultivation clan. With his intervention, however, the Li family cannot have such fortune. It will only continue to decline, or even become extinct. This is a fight for destiny. Like sailing against the current, if you don't advance, you retreat. Jiang Fan feels he is becoming more aware of his life chart abilities. The world's destiny cannot be infinite. If someone has more, others will have less. His life chart abilities involve constantly seizing others' opportunities and grasping others' destiny, thus gathering more and more destiny for himself, eventually reaching harmony with heaven. But such actions will also draw countless calamities. This is the union of fortune and misfortune. Nonetheless, he feels it's all worth it. Without these opportunities to assist, how could he rise? Even if facing some calamities, it's absolutely fine. In fact, it is precisely these calamities that accelerate his growth, making the destiny upon him increasingly vast. But the greatest opportunity here still comes from the immortal cave mansion at Yunmeng Lake. According to the cultivator Li Yuan, the immortal cave mansion at Yunmeng Lake belongs to a mysterious sect. However, his talent and strength were too weak at that time, only passing the first layer assessment. So he only managed to obtain a cultivation technique. If one can pass the assessments within, one can obtain the whole sect's inheritance. That is to say, the reason the 3 great families of Yun City have remained here is for the immortal cave mansion at Yunmeng Lake. They are here for the immortal inheritance it holds. Unexpectedly, there really is an immortal deep within Yunmeng Lake. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. He felt he had uncovered a huge secret. This was a secret known only to the 3 great families of Yun City. No wonder they have stood strong in Yun City for hundreds of years. Generations upon generation, producing martial arts grandmasters. If they are guarding such an immortal cave mansion, it's an unending gold mine. If he also gains the immortal inheritance, who knows how great the benefits would be. Even though he has already obtained 2 cultivation techniques, the cyan wood formula and the golden yuan formula. The problem is that in the cultivation realm, these are only low-level techniques. If he has a chance to obtain high-level techniques, who would be willing to forego that? But there's no need to rush. Since it's an assessment for the immortal cave mansion, it must be targeting cultivators. That means those without a spirit root who participate are likely to return with nothing. If able to enter the path of martial arts and nurture a spirit root, then try again, it may yield great rewards. Moreover, it's not yet time for the immortal cave mansion to appear. Even if wanting to participate in the assessments, it's not possible yet. Jiang Fan took a deep breath, calming himself temporarily. Suddenly, he remembered the mysterious token he obtained earlier. Undoubtedly, this mysterious token is the key to the immortal cave mansion. Without this mysterious token, it might be impossible to enter the immortal cave mansion. It's as if destiny is connecting everything together. In some respects, this is also a result of his destiny. Of course, if the immortal cave mansion turns out to be too dangerous, it doesn't matter if he doesn't go. Anyway, he feels that with his destiny, Obtaining high-level cultivation techniques is no big deal. It's just a matter of time. Husband. At this moment, Su Weiwei's soft and charming voice came over, exuding an enticing charm. Hearing this, Jiang Fan left the cultivation room and went to the bedroom. There Su Weiwei was dressed in a red bellyband, her alluring figure vaguely visible, skin like white jade, exuding endless charms, her enchanting eyes captivating, almost like a temptress. Why are you not resting so late? Su Weiwei's enchanting eyes looked at Jiang Fan, her gaze sultry. I'm coming. Jiang Fan couldn't contain himself, especially after advancing to the Grandmaster realm. His vitality was astoundingly vigorous, easily aroused by this woman, losing his rationality. Soon within the bedroom, the bedding rolled, the bed swayed. Noises echoed out, releasing waves of heat, unable to stop for a long time. Another day passed. The Li family mansion. Since Li Lei and others have been missing for an entire day, such an occurrence is very unusual. Normally, Li Lei and others should have returned to the Li family mansion by now. But they haven't returned for this long, causing unease among the Li family elders. As a result, the Li family immediately sent someone to the Li family mansion to investigate the situation. When they arrived at the Li family mansion, they found that everyone had long since disappeared. Only a few bloodstains were left. Even the Bat King Yang Qin was missing, which shocked the Li family scouts, making them believe something significant had happened, prompting them to immediately return to the Li family mansion. At this moment, the current patriarch Li Haoran, along with many Li family elders, gathered together in a hall, all with very solemn expressions. What happened? Where did Elder Li Lei and others go, and why have they disappeared? Li Haoran's face was gloomy. He felt that everything had been going wrong for him lately, as if something was obstructing him in the shadows. Previously, everything he did went smoothly and according to plan. But suddenly, he began to encounter numerous calamities, and the Li family faced a significant crisis. This left him extremely frustrated. Chapter 95, Chapter 84, Destroy the Li family, Avenge the fishermen. Not sure. When I arrived at the Li family residence, I found they had disappeared. Even after searching the basement, it was a complete blank. I only know there must have been a fierce fight inside. The result is that Li Lei and the others have vanished. They were likely destroyed by someone. A Li family scout immediately said. He strongly suspected that Li Lei and the others were already dead, and the reason no bodies were found is likely because someone used corpse-dissolving water to destroy them, leaving only traces of blood in the residence. After all, similar incidents were not uncommon even within the Li family. Now it has finally happened to the Li family. Impossible. The Bat King Yang Qin is a martial artist in the refining organ realm with formidable strength. He's said to be just one step away from becoming a martial arts grandmaster. If enemies came to kill, Yang Qin's strength should be able to resist somewhat. Why has even Yang Qin disappeared now? Could it be that Yang Qin fell into a state of madness and killed Li Lei and the others? A Li family elder was very suspicious that the Bat King Yang Qin had gone mad from practicing martial arts and killed Li Lei and others. Otherwise, such absurd things would not have happened. Given Yang Qin's strength, even if he could not win against enemies, he should have no problem escaping. It couldn't have been Yang Qin. What benefit would he have from doing this to himself? Even if he was mad and lost control, resulting in killing. Still, it's impossible for a madman to make the bodies disappear like in the entire residence. So it must be someone who entered the residence and took out Yang Qin and the others. Li Haoran's face was very grave. He knew they had certainly encountered an expert. Otherwise, Yang Qin and the others would not have died without reason. But if this is true, then the Li family might have invited big trouble. Because if even Yang Qin and the others are no match, they are unlikely to be enemies. If they are slightly careless, the Li family might face disaster. No way, those with the power to take down Yang Qin are few in Yun City. At least they would have to be martial arts grandmasters. Could it be the masters from the three great families struck? Many Li family elders were terrified. They thought of fleeing. Because if the relationship between the Red Eyebrow Army and the Li family is exposed, the Li family would be doomed. They would surely be executed entirely. No one would tolerate traitors after all. Don't worry, it couldn't be the masters from the three great families. If they were really the masters from the three families, they would have attacked the Li family long ago. It can't be that there's still no movement till now. Li Haoran also dismissed this possibility. Because the entire Yun city is controlled by the three great families, if they knew of the Li family's betrayal, they wouldn't need a day's time to dispatch armies on their borders. By then, it would be impossible to escape. If not the masters from the three great families, then who did it? These are martial arts grandmasters. Besides the three great families, who else could possess such power? Another Li family elder was very puzzled, finding the matter incredibly complex. They simply didn't know who took down Yang Qin and the others. If I guessed correctly, it might be a master from the civilian sector. As incredible as it seems, there are so many people in Yun City. There might be some top martial artists hiding among them. Before, we captured many blood slaves. We might have been unlucky and got discovered by a civilian grandmaster, thus bringing catastrophe. So Yang Qin and the others faced such a disaster. Li Haoran shared his guess, feeling that Yang Qin and others might have been killed by a civilian master. After all, there are hidden talents among the civilians, and no one knows how many experts are hidden there. A grandmaster from the civilian sector. Upon hearing this, many Li family elders had complicated expressions. They found this guess hard to believe, but considering various intelligence, though unlikely, it was most likely to happen. After all, this kind of incident does happen occasionally. Some martial artists with a sense of justice might also act bravely. Damn it, how could our Li family be so unlucky as to encounter a civilian grandmaster? Just capturing some lowly people, why would a civilian grandmaster intervene? Indeed, no connection between the sides, yet they intervene totally insane. The worst part is if this drags the Li family into it. Exactly. Who knows if this civilian grandmaster is a madman, what to do if they find our Li family? Many Li family elders were chattering, gritting their teeth. They thought this civilian grandmaster was simply meddlesome. Capturing some lowly people as blood slaves was all they did. With so many lowly people, what's the harm if a few died? Anyway, in this era, human lives were as insignificant as grass. For the lives of lowly people, killing Li Lei and others was simply preposterous. This made them extremely annoyed. After all, their lives couldn't be compared to those lowly people. Your Li family people are indeed clever. Just a few words and you've already guessed the truth. But being too clever might not be a good thing. Just then a voice suddenly came out, reaching every Li family elder's ears. Immediately, a figure walked out from the shadows. Chapter 96, Chapter 84, Destroying the Li Family, Avenging the Fishermen /2. The person who came was none other than Jiang Fan. After Jiang Fan advanced to become a martial arts grandmaster, he hid near the Li family stronghold, monitoring every move they made, aiming to find their main base. As he expected, the Li family sent people to this residence. He seized the opportunity to follow these Li family spies, trailing them all the way until he arrived at their main base. One must admit, his luck was indeed excellent. He encountered most of the Li family's senior figures at once. Basically, numerous Li family elders were present here. If he could capture them all in one fell swoop, the entire Li family would effectively be wiped out. After all, without these martial artists' protection, the remaining Li family members would be unable to maintain such a vast legacy. Sooner or later, they would be annexed by other families. What? Upon hearing this, Li Haoran and others' faces changed drastically. They immediately noticed the uninvited guest, a seemingly ordinary middle-aged man, whose appearance was unfamiliar and unheard of. However, they could sense the terrifying power and murderous intent contained within his body. Undoubtedly, the mysterious man before them was the culprit who killed Yang Qin and others. Even though they had found the perpetrator, they were not happy at all. Because this was not good news. Rather, it was a catastrophic disaster. Who are you? Li Haoran stared intently at the uninvited guest, instinctively sensing that this person was extremely dangerous, unprecedentedly formidable. Even the martial arts grandmasters he had encountered before were no more than this. His heart trembled, not knowing when he offended such a formidable enemy. The other Li family elders felt the same. Each was as cautious as facing a great enemy. Friend, is there some misunderstanding between us? Indeed, there are no irreconcilable conflicts in this world. If you want anything, just say it, and as long as the Li family has it, we'll surely compensate. A group of Li family elders trembled. They could sense the terrifying aura emanating from this mysterious figure, especially the chi force unleashed from his body, which was akin to the sun, releasing a dreadful heat. It seemed that if he made a move, they would surely die. Originally, as the elders of the Li family, each was arrogant and domineering, looking down on others. But now, one by one, they were scared like quails, seemingly losing all courage. Conflicts indeed can be resolved. As long as you are all dead, then it can be resolved. Jiang Fan looked calmly at this group of Li family elders, recalling the days when the fishermen of Osmanthus village were oppressed by the Dragon King gang, and how many were driven to death by these noble descendants, with no way out. Mengda's family, Song Fugui's family, and others were all honest and stammering fishermen. A lifetime of hard work, never doing evil. Just to support their families, they worked from dawn to dusk, only to earn meager earnings. Yet the Dragon King gang was insatiable, continually squeezing them, as if extracting the very marrow from their bones, giving the fishermen no way to live, draining the life essence of the fishermen solely to support the Li family, satisfy their extremely luxurious lifestyle. Every blade of grass, every beam and tile here was permeated with the blood and sweat of the fishermen. Although he couldn't change this damned world, he could reclaim justice for his fellow villagers. Previously, he lacked the strength, forced to endure, watching the Dragon King gang flaunt their power and fortune. But now, he was no longer willing to endure. He must make the Dragon King gang pay the price. Kill. Upon hearing this, the Li family elders' eyes showed a cold glint, realizing that today's matter couldn't be resolved peacefully. This mysterious figure was clearly here for revenge. No matter how they showed weakness, he would never spare them. Since that's the case, it's better to fight to the death. Moreover, they had numbers on their side, not without a chance for victory. Bang tilde tilde tilde. In an instant, dozens of Li family elders attacked simultaneously. Their strength at least reached the bone-forging realm, and some were even at the refining organ realm, considered high-tier martial artists. Some used fist techniques, some palm techniques, while others employed swordsmanship or saber techniques. Each was like a fierce tiger, lunging to tear Jiang Fan apart. Too weak. Jiang Fan looked indifferently at the group of Li family elders, sighing lightly. If it were before, these Li family elders were indeed formidable figures he couldn't contend with, able to easily crush him, once a fisherman, with a single slap. But now, having become a martial arts grandmaster, his strength was magnitudes greater than before. In his eyes, these Li family elders were like ants, not worth mentioning. Bang tilde tilde. In an instant, he took out the Chengying sword from his space ring, gripping the divine blade firmly as his chi force surged out, unleashing the cold radiance within the weapon. Suddenly, 3 feet of sword chi appeared. This was the terror of a martial arts grandmaster. The chi force within could leave the body, killing from afar. Often without needing to approach the enemy, he could kill them from a distance. As a sword Dao grandmaster, he could unleash sword chi, capable of cutting down enemies from afar. Especially with the divine blade's amplification, the destructive power increased several folds. Thump, thump, thump. In the next second, Jiang Fan lightly moved, executing Aurora swordsmanship. Suddenly, terrifying sword chi blasted out, releasing dozens of sword rays. Each sword chi was impossibly fast, imbued with indomitable sharpness. In just one instant, before the Li family elders could get close, the terrifying sword chi pierced through their physiques. One by one, their bodies were effortlessly cut in half. Immediately, the hall was drenched in blood, leaving behind broken limbs and remains. Just in a flash, dozens of Li family elders were killed by Jiang Fan. They all fell to the ground, pupils contracted, seeming to show endless fear and shock as they died. As if unable to believe they had died just like that. This Sword Dao Grandmaster, this guy is a Sword Dao Grandmaster. Wait, why does this sword technique look so familiar, like light, akin to the Aurora? Isn't this the peerless sword technique mastered by our Li family ancestor, the Aurora swordsmanship? No, it's not just the Aurora swordsmanship. This guy's sword looks like the long-lost Chengying sword of our Li family. Why does our Li family's divine blade end up in this guy's hands? Could it be our ancestors' legacy has been obtained by this person? The remaining Li family elders were stunned. They immediately recognized the swordsmanship Jiang Fan performed and the divine blade in his hand. Each was dumbstruck in disbelief. To be honest, they never anticipated such a thing to occur. The legacy belonging to the Li family was now possessed by a stranger. Moreover, he was using the Li family's divine blade and swordsmanship to massacre the Li family. You damned thief! You obtained my Li family's legacy. You actually use our Li family's Chengying sword to kill our Li family members. Li Haoran was furious, his lungs almost exploding with rage. He recalled how he almost found the ancestor Li Chengying's legacy, only for a mysterious figure to beat him to it. Who could have imagined that this mysterious figure would appear before him, and that he would use this sword technique to slaughter Li family elders, attempting to annihilate the Li family? Such shamelessness, such baseness. By rights, the Li family should have been beneficent to this guy. Yet now he repays kindness with enmity, utterly unthinkable. Indeed, your kindness to me is immense. I can't possibly repay it. So after much thought, I've decided to annihilate the Li family. This way I don't need to repay you. Jiang Fan looked calmly at the group. Chapter 97, Chapter 85, The Li family's annihilation and comprehension of sword intent. What? Upon hearing this, the Li family members were dumbfounded. They had heard of the saying, a favor of rice becomes a grudge of a bushel. But they never imagined that this mysterious figure in front of them could be so ungrateful to this extent. Because he feared not being able to repay the favor, he decided to kill all of the Li family. This is simply a character of the demon Dao, a true demon. The way he repays them is by killing their entire family. Each of them felt a chill to the extreme. This guy is simply a lunatic. There is no way to reason with him. The Li family truly must have been cursed to encounter such a person. Is it possible that the evils committed by the Li family in the past are finally being avenged now? Run! Li Haoran was terrified, but he knew full well that even if their group joined together, they could not be a match for this demon. The opponent is not just a martial arts grandmaster. He has also learned Aurora swordsmanship and possesses a divine blade. With such strength, he is considered an absolute master even among many grandmasters. So it would be as easy for him to kill them as it is to kill chickens. The only way now is to run as far away as possible. As for how many can survive, it's up to fate. Whoosh! Unparalleled step technique, gecko wall crawling technique. Instantly, Li Haoran's figure flickered, moving extremely fast, and he quickly climbed onto the nearby wall, planning to use the terrain to swiftly leave this place. As for the life and death of the Li family members next, it didn't matter much to him. He is still young now, with great prospects and hopes for the future. He absolutely cannot die here. In the future, once his divine skills have achieved great success, he'll return to seek revenge. Too slow. Jiang Fan calmly watched Li Haoran's actions. In his eyes, the opponent's speed was as slow as a snail, every move expected, making it impossible to escape from him. With a whoosh, his figure flashed, as if surrounded by countless airflows, moving like riding clouds. Even the speed of a flying bird was no match. Then he gripped his long sword tightly and gently made a strike. A terrifying sword chi came crashing, unstoppable. It's over. Li Haoran's pupils constricted, feeling a fatal crisis. He tried to dodge and evade this lethal blow. But there was no doubt, the gap between him and Jiang Fan's strength was too great. Even though he sensed the arrival of this strike, his body simply could not react. Bang! That instant, the sword came down, splitting his entire body in two. Even the nearby wall could not withstand the edge of the sword light, being instantly split in two and shattered. How is that possible? Before dying, Li Haoran showed endless fear and regret, unable to believe he was killed by a mysterious martial arts grandmaster. Originally, he had great prospects, impressive martial Dao talent, with hope to become a grandmaster, and even attempting to enter the Dao through martial arts to truly become a cultivator. But now, his goals have not been realized, yet he was slain by a mysterious grandmaster. All of his ambitions at this moment vanished into thin air. With a boom, his body fell to the ground, split in half, bleeding profusely. The new Li family patriarch Li Haoran was thus killed by Jiang Fan with a single sword strike. Patriarch! Seeing this scene, The remaining Li family elders had eyes wide open in rage. The hope of the Li family had tragically perished here, extinguishing the family's future prospects. Each looked at Jiang Fan with extreme hatred, wishing to perish together with him. "All of you must die," Jiang Fan sneered, indifferent to joy or sorrow. When this group of Li family vermin killed the fisherfolk, they were all high-handed and arrogant, treating ordinary people as ants. Just for their own enjoyment, they caused countless fisherfolk families to be destroyed. The cries and wails of countless fisherfolk were ignored by them. And now it's their turn, showing such expressions. Do they finally understand what pain is? No doubt, none of these Li family members is innocent. Each enjoyed the wealth brought by the Dragon King gang and the Li family. Therefore, they need to pay the price. Any pity shown to them would be disrespectful to the deceased fisherfolk. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant within the hall, sword chi intertwined. In merely a breath's time, the Li family members inside the hall, every single one, were instantly killed, with their bodies split in half. All around the hall were fragmented limbs, bloody. None were able to survive. Each Li family member had their eyes wide open, evidently dying with regret. They enjoyed years of riches, never expecting to die at the hands of an unknown person. Finally avenged, Jiang Fan took a deep breath, looking at the numerous enemies lying at his feet, feeling a repressed air in the depths of his heart finally dissipate, feeling clarity of mind. During his time in Osmanthus village, he was oppressed by people from the Dragon King gang. With the slightest mistake, he could provoke a catastrophe. To survive, he could only endure watching villagers from Osmanthus village have their families destroyed. Back then, without strength, he could only endure. But now, he finally mastered the power of revenge, slaughtering all the Li family's martial artists. Although those deceased villagers cannot be revived, at least they can be appeased in spirit. Chapter 98, Chapter 85, The Li Family's Annihilation and Comprehension of Sword Intent Part 2. There are still some Li family members who haven't died. But they can't stir up much trouble anymore. Undoubtedly, with this assassination, Jiang Fan has essentially wiped out the higher-ups of the Li family. Even if there are some Li family martial artists left, they can't cause much of an uproar. Moreover, the Li family holds such a large foundation, such considerable wealth. Yet they don't have enough power to protect it. For the surviving members of the Li family, it may not be a blessing. After all, this world is full of jackals, wolves, tigers, and panthers. Once it's known that the Li family lacks the strength to protect their wealth, they are bound to swarm in. They will immediately squeeze the Li family dry. If they are wise, they should just surrender their wealth and perhaps have a chance to survive. But if they dare to hold on to any wealth, it will spell disaster. Perhaps these surviving Li family members will suffer worse than the dead. It's time for these noble descendants to see the harsh reality faced by the lower class. To taste how the fishermen of the past struggled to survive. Whoosh! With this thought, Jiang Fan did not intend to stay there. He flashed and swiftly left the Li family mansion. It's over, the Li family is completely finished. The remaining Li family members saw the death of the elder and the patriarch and turned pale one by one. Although they were accustomed to comfort, they weren't fools. With the loss of the high-tier martial artists' protection, it was predictable what the Li family's situation would become. It didn't take long for Jiang Fan to return to his home. Almost no one could trace his whereabouts. After all, his soaring snake technique could reduce his presence and blend him into the night. Even if he stood right in front of someone, they probably wouldn't notice. A message instantly penetrated deep into his consciousness. You have slain Li Haoran and the others, eliminating a formidable future enemy in advance, overcoming a calamity, and have gained 800 luck points. What? Upon sensing this message, a glint flashed in Jiang Fan's eyes. He completely didn't expect that after taking down the Li family, he would gain so many luck points. More than what he gained from slaying the Bat King Xianxia. Adding to his previous luck points, he has now acquired a total of 1360 luck points. In the blink of an eye, his luck points have exceeded 1,000. This shows that the threat posed by the Li family was much greater than that of the Bat King Xianxia. After all, for Jiang Fan, the bigger the calamity he overcomes, the more destiny he gains. However, perhaps it's not just the calamity being massive. It might also be due to seizing the Li family's destiny, which is why I've gained so many luck points. Jiang Fan rubbed his chin. He noticed that his life chart also possessed the ability to seize the destiny of others, which is why he could keep accumulating luck points like this. The Li family originally was a family with great destiny. Otherwise, they wouldn't have possessed such cultivation heritage. If it weren't for him, perhaps the Li family might have truly become a family of cultivators in the future. Unfortunately, such a future has already been completely interrupted by him, with no chance of recovery. Meaning, the Li family's destiny has been entirely stripped away by him. But this was deserved. One could say the Li family committed numerous evils, inciting the wrath of heaven and man, sowing the seeds of disaster long ago, hence encountering this great calamity. If they could overcome it, they would surely soar to great heights. But if not, it would be total destruction. In this world, no family exists eternally unchanging. With so much destiny gained, perhaps I can use it to enhance the Aurora swordsmanship. Jiang Fan clenched his fists. His Aurora swordsmanship had already reached the realm of great success, just a step away from the perfection level. Moreover, to advance to Grandmaster, he needs to comprehend martial Dao will. So he wants to elevate the level of Aurora swordsmanship and seize the opportunity to grasp sword intent. This way, his future advance to innate martial artist might become much easier. Perhaps it will save a lot of luck points. Rumble tilde tilde. With these thoughts in mind, he wasted no time and immediately expended 300 luck points. Instantly, Jiang Fan sensed a mysterious power emanating from within him, pulling his soul into a mysterious space. In this mysterious space appeared a figure practicing the Aurora swordsmanship. Every stance, every motion, contained the rhythm of swordsmanship. As if resonating with the heavens and earth, it drew upon the energy of the world. 20 years, 50 years, 70 years. Finally, this figure diligently trained for a full 100 years. It was a transformation from quantity to quality. And this figure finally cultivated the Aurora swordsmanship to the perfection level. An intense sword intent was suddenly revealed, fully nurtured. This is the Aurora sword intent. I see now. In this moment, Jiang Fan integrated these sword Dao memories and began to notice a transformation in his soul. When the Aurora swordsmanship reached the perfection level, it was no longer just at the micro level, but man and sword became one. Upon reaching such a realm, man and sword were unified as one. They can become one precisely because of the birth of sword intent. Only when the souls will merges into the sword can man and sword be as one, as if of a single entity. Thud. In an instant, Jiang Fan gripped the Chengying sword, and the chi force within him merged with the sword intent. He thrust out with a single sword. A sword chi shot out, containing terrifying destructive force. Immediately, the wall in front was pierced through in an instant, all the stones shattered into dust. Without a doubt, the power of this sword chi compared to before had increased more than tenfold. So powerful! A glint of excitement flashed in Jiang Fan's eyes. Although the chi force within him hadn't increased, the comprehension of sword intent greatly elevated his combat capability to an incomparable level. A grandmaster who comprehends sword intent and one who hasn't are practically beings of two different dimensions. The gap between them is enormous. The so-called martial Dao will, in essence, belongs to the power of the soul. Before comprehending the martial Dao will, martial artists cannot utilize their soul power. But once comprehended, a martial artist's soul power becomes substantial, resonating with the forces of heaven and earth. Thus, when sword intent merges with chi force, its power drastically increases. If attacking an enemy, the power of sword intent can penetrate the enemy's defenses and damage their soul. Often when a sword strike is unleashed, the target may show no external harm but die from a shattered soul. Jiang Fan clenched his fists. He realized the formidable nature of martial Dao will. It is the substantiation of soul power. Hence, a grandmaster who comprehends martial Dao will become fearsome. Other grandmasters can't compare. A grandmaster at this level can even compete with low-tier chi cultivation stage cultivators. Each grandmaster comprehends a different sword intent. The one I've comprehended is the Aurora sword intent. It can condense sword chi into a single point, erupting instantaneously with great destructive power, containing fearsome piercing and speed. Once unleashed, the enemy is caught off guard and can be killed with a single sword thrust. Therefore, this swordsmanship doesn't have too many moves. Usually, one sword strike is enough to decide the outcome, needing no second strike. If a second sword is needed, it only means the training isn't sufficient. Jiang Fan took a deep breath. Compared to before, he felt empowered several times over. Especially after comprehending the Aurora sword intent, he felt invincible within his realm. Even when encountering a martial arts grandmaster, it's merely a matter of a single sword strike, no second sword needed. This means the biggest bottleneck in advancing to innate martial artist is gone. Now, I only need to keep increasing the chi force within to reach the perfection level. That way, I'll naturally break through to the realm of innate martial artist and nurture a spirit root. Jiang Fan felt he saw the path leading to the Tao of cultivation. Even without a spirit root, I can enter the Tao through martial arts, nurturing an acquired spirit root. That way, I won't be much inferior to those naturally born cultivators. He might even nurture a high-grade spirit root. If successful, his starting point will be higher than other cultivators. Chapter 99, Chapter 86, Forced Conscription, Unbearable Suffering, Intolerable. Noon the next day, City Lord's mansion of Yun City. Lu Kai, patriarch of the Lu family, Zai Qin, patriarch of the Zai family, and Mu Yue, patriarch of the Mu family, among others, gathered together. Their expressions were very serious, because now they knew the news of the destruction of the Li family. This was a major incident for the entire Yun City. If not cautious enough, it could trigger unrest in Yun City, potentially leading to it being overrun. What exactly happened? Who on earth destroyed the Li family? Zai Qin, patriarch of the Zai family, was quite familiar with the situation of the Li family. In its heyday, the Li family had considerable power, having produced martial arts grandmasters and even cultivators in the past. Unfortunately, the family's fortunes had declined. Now, the Li family couldn't even produce a single grandmaster. However, even so, the power of the Li family was second only to their three families. A family like this, apart from a martial arts grandmaster, no one could destroy them. Not sure, but the one who acted must be a grandmaster. Lu Kai, patriarch of the Lu family, was also very angry. After all, the Li family had been annexed by the Lu family. It could be said the Li family was like their dog, and supposedly beating a dog had to happen with the owner's awareness. Now, someone had actually destroyed the Li family. This was indeed a slap in the face for the Lu family. It was simply outrageous. He absolutely couldn't tolerate such an occurrence. A grandmaster, in the entirety of Yun City apart from our three families, where else is there a grandmaster? Could it be that the Red Eyebrow Army sent a grandmaster to infiltrate our Yun City? Mu Yue, patriarch of the Mu family, had an unpleasant expression. Because if a grandmaster truly infiltrated Yun City, it was not good news for them. If it came to a critical moment, this grandmaster who infiltrated Yun City suddenly made a move, combining forces inside and out. Yun City surely wouldn't withstand it and would be instantly breached. They must find that mysterious grandmaster and prevent dangers before they occur. Where in the world are there so many grandmasters? I think it's very likely the one who acted is Bat King Yang Qin. It's said that this person's martial arts cultivation has long reached the perfection of the refining organ realm, just one step away from becoming a grandmaster. Now he has also obtained the essence blood of Grandmaster Muda, perhaps advancing further to become a grandmaster. The bat demon technique he cultivates is very peculiar, requiring the devouring of a large amount of martial artists' essence blood. Moreover, the stronger the martial artist, the greater the benefit to Bat King Yang Qin. Presumably, in order to improve his martial arts cultivation, Yang Qin made a move against the Li family. Zai Qin, patriarch of the Zai family, spoke of his suspicion. He felt that if it were really a grandmaster sent by the Red Eyebrow Army, there was absolutely no way they would expose their whereabouts at this time, thereby alerting them. This was clearly a case of beating the grass to scare the snake. After contemplating repeatedly, he felt the one who acted must be Bat King Yang Qin. Only he possibly has the motive and ability to act. It's a strong possibility. Normally, if a grandmaster truly infiltrated, they would be too busy hiding. Where would they have the time to commit a crime? But Bat King Yang Qin is different. His cultivation technique requires a large amount of essence blood, so he often needs to act. This way, he can fulfill Yang Qin's daily cultivation needs. Hateful, this guy killed our family's ancestor, and now he's starting to commit crimes in Yun City. He must be captured and made to pay the price. Mu Yue, patriarch of the Mu family, was seething with anger. He detested Yang Qin to the extreme. If it weren't for this guy's covert actions, Mu family's grandmaster wouldn't have died. It was precisely because of the opponent's actions that Mu's life was ended. It could be said Yang Qin was Mu family's greatest nemesis. The enmity was utterly irreconcilable. Of course, they also didn't know about the relationship between Bat King Yang Qin and the Li family. After all, for the Li family, this was a matter that could cost one's life. Aside from a few confidants, others didn't know about Yang Qin's existence. Previously, Jiang Fan took action and dealt with most of the Li family's elders. Virtually all informed parties were dead. So naturally no one knew about the collaboration between Bat King Yang Qin and the Li family. Looks like patrols need to be intensified during this period. We must find traces of Bat King Yang Qin. Now, the war is on the verge of breaking out, and we absolutely can't let Yun City have such a hidden danger. The crowd discussed fervently. They all pinned the suspicion on Bat King Yang Qin. But this was also quite a normal thing. Who could have imagined that the one who wiped out the Li family was someone ordinary and unremarkable? Moreover, Jiang Fan had never appeared in anyone's sight. Naturally, this wouldn't arouse anyone's suspicion. For a moment, the entire Yun City became even more chaotic, with many soldiers starting to search house to house in Yun City, trying to find traces of Bat King Yang Qin. Of course, these people naturally returned empty-handed. As for the Li family, after losing most of their high-tier martial artists, they were ruthlessly abandoned by the Liu family and expelled from the money gang. Even some malevolent forces started to eye the Li family. This also subjected the Li family to tremendous oppression. In order to survive, the remaining members of the Li family could only abandon a large portion of their wealth and scatter. Several days passed. The battle between Yun City and the Red Eyebrow Army became more and more intense. Due to the Red Eyebrow Army's relentless aggression, Yun City soldiers suffered heavy casualties. Several times they were almost breached at the city gates. If not for the martial artists of the three families stepping in, Yun City might have already been broken. Chapter 100, Chapter 86, Press Gang bitterly unbearable, unable to endure /2. To make up for the number of soldiers in Yun City has also begun conscripting strong men. This has made the residents of Yun City complain incessantly. Crazy, the government has completely gone mad, actually wanting to directly conscript us into service. This is simply outrageous. They've taxed us 30 years into the future, and yet they still want us to protect Yun City. It's just a fool's talk. No need to think about it. I will not become a soldier of Yun City. To tell the truth, I wish I could open the city gates immediately and let the Red Eyebrow Army invade and kill the three great families. Indeed, why should we lay down our lives to protect this corrupt government? But now the situation is stronger than people. If we refuse, we'll be arrested by the government and tortured. Isn't that so? Even if we don't want to agree, we have to agree. Many residents were discussing intensely. They never imagined that the war situation would become this tense. It's forcing the government of Yun City to conscript residents as cannon fodder. No one is willing to take part in such a suicidal act. If there was money offered, they might reluctantly endure, but since they're being sent to die, it's a completely different matter. This has made the public resentment boil over even more. A small mistake could cause it to explode immediately. At this moment in Jiang Fan's home, inside the cultivation room, Jiang Fan stood in the middle of the room, practicing the soaring snake breathing technique. At this moment, he also took the blood tiger pill. One must know this is an elixir from the cultivation realm. Though only suitable for martial artists, the energy contained within is incomparable to ordinary elixirs. When he swallowed a blood tiger pill, the medicinal power erupted at once, flooding in like a torrent, rapidly spreading to every corner of his body. This caused the chi force within him to increase at a geometric rate. Boom tilde tilde. Suddenly, Jiang Fan exhaled clouds and mist, and mysterious substances around formed a massive fog, enveloping the room with every pore on his body breathing. This kept enhancing the chi force deep within his danshan. Strength was growing bit by bit. No wonder it's called the blood tiger pill. Even a single one can equal months of hard cultivation. Jiang Fan clenched his fists, feeling his increasingly powerful strength and the chi force within him. After advancing to the Grandmaster realm, the cultivation pace slowed down considerably. For ordinary Grandmasters, the only fast way to enhance their inner chi force is by consuming spirit medicines and elixirs. If relying solely on their own hard cultivation, it would take at least decades to possibly achieve chi force perfection. If truly so, by the time of breaking through to the innate realm, the chance would have long passed. Hence, external assistance is crucial for Grandmasters. The problem is that elixirs and spirit medicines in the mortal world are exceedingly rare and scarce. For this reason, innate martial artists in the mortal world are now extinct. Anyone hopeful of becoming an innate martial artist would expend all efforts to venture into the cultivation realm, and would not remain here, continuing to waste their years and lifespan. Thinking of this, Jiang Fan's thoughts stirred. He immediately opened his virtual panel. Name Jiang Fan. Life chart, great blessings equal to heaven attribute. Survive great peril must have great fortune. Lifespan 100. Luck points 1060. Cultivation technique, soaring snake technique incomplete, 6th layer. Skills fishing, perfection. Disguise technique, perfection cows poison scripture, mastery aurora swordsmanship, perfection. Realm, Grandmaster realm 7%. Undoubtedly, his cultivation has progressed rapidly during this period. Aurora swordsmanship has reached perfection level, and he also comprehended Aurora sword intent, causing his combat power to soar several times over. At the same time, the chi force within him has also increased significantly. Continuing to cultivate this way, becoming an innate martial artist is just a matter of time. Knock, knock, knock. At this moment, a series of urgent knocks suddenly came from outside. Hem. At the sound, Jiang Fan walked out of the cultivation room. Husband. Su Weiwei looked quite tense because she knew Yun City hasn't been safe recently. The government is everywhere conscripting strong men, forcing residents to the battlefield. Suddenly, a stranger knocking on the door does not bode well. It might even be a disaster coming. Don't worry, it's not someone from the government. Jiang Fan could sense the outside presence. The knocker was merely a neighbor, not someone from the government. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate and went straight to the door to open it. At once stood a young man around 27 or 28 years old at the door, with tattered clothes and eyes showing a cunning look, revealing a hint of shrewdness. He immediately recognized the identity of the person. He was a nearby apprentice from Kong's pharmacy. It said the person lacked skill, often being lazy, thus got expelled. Later, he helped out at a nearby inn, becoming a waiter. His name was Tanjai. Although not very familiar, he had no contact with Tanjai before. He didn't know why Tanjai suddenly showed up. Brother Jiang. Tanjai saw Jiang Fan appearing, instantly revealing a congenial smile. So it's Brother Tan, I wonder what brings you to my house. Jiang Fan knew that someone like Tanjai wouldn't come without reason. There might not be anything good in store.